Hey, it's Tom
And Mike.
from Take Time to Travel.
Canada is known for its natural beauty, and the Canadian Rockies are one of the most beautiful places in the country, with mountains stretching for over 1,400 kilometers, as well as incredibly picturesque blue lakes, stunning natural landscapes, and ancient glaciers. There are so many reasons to visit, so we put together a Canadian Rocky Mountain travel guide to give you some great ideas on what to do and where to grab a bite to eat during your trip to the Rockies.
As we began our drive, we came across a wild horse on our way towards the mountains. Canmore was our first stop. It's a quaint little town with gorgeous views, as well as a charming waterfront walkway along Spring Creek. And just a scenic 15-minute drive from there is White Man's Pond, which is part of the Spray Lakes Reservoir, where we took a quick selfie and checked the temperature of the cold, clear water.
Then we saw a mountain goat climbing the rocks before my uncle and I started the Grassi Lakes trail. On the way down, it was a very beautiful hike, surrounded by trees and steep cliff faces, which are perfect for rock climbing. And a little bit further, there's the main attraction, the Grassi Lakes, which have an incredibly vibrant color to them. Plus, with the clear and calm water, the reflections of the mountains look breathtaking. However, the climb back up was much more tiring than on the way down, so if you plan on doing this hike, then make sure to bring good shoes. After working up an appetite, we headed over to Canmore's Summit Cafe, where we placed our order inside the restaurant and then grabbed a table on their outdoor patio, which had some lovely views all the way around. We were given these superhero figures so they knew where to deliver the food. I chose the breakfast burrito filled with scrambled eggs, shredded potatoes, cheddar, green onion, and ham, then baked with salsa and cheddar and served with sour cream, guacamole, and hash browns. The breakfast burrito was a hefty portion size and tasted delicious.
I got the breakfast wrap, which had the same fillings but was toasted in a panini grill. And Mike's mom had the breakfast sandwich with bacon, cheddar, egg, chipotle mayo, lettuce, and tomatoes. We had an excellent meal, but let's keep going and drive about 25 minutes over towards Lake Minnewanka, which is a glacial lake in the eastern area of Banff National Park. That's a wonderful place for a boat ride. We decided to take a guided boat tour of Lake Minnewanka and hopped on board for our afternoon excursion. Along the way, we enjoyed some spectacular perspectives of the Rocky Mountains from the water, and our tour guide gave us some interesting facts on the history of the area during our 1-hour cruise. For a link to this amazing activity, take a look in the description section down below.
It's always nice to be out on the water, especially surrounded by this kind of stunning scenery. However, there's lots more to do, so let's continue on our Rocky Mountains tour and make our way over towards Banff to go for a scenic hike on the Tunnel Mountain Trail, which has an impressive outlook from the Hoodos Viewpoint and lots of other terrific locations for a picture.
Nearby is Alberta's pretty little town of Banff, which is filled with inviting restaurants and patios, as well as shops and boutiques. And when we were there, the main street, Banff Avenue, was a pedestrian walkway with fantastic mountain views at both ends. It's also where you'll find the iconic Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, referred to as Canada's Castle in the Rockies, which has been operating since 1888 and is one of the country's original Grand Railway hotels.
Make sure to check out this landmark's impressive main lobby before heading out back to the Rundle Patio, which has an excellent perspective of Mount Rundle. We sat down at our table and took a moment to enjoy this spectacular panoramic view. Even though it was kind of smoky from the wildfires up north, the scenery was still absolutely mesmerizing. We started with a couple of Corona beers to drink. Then as an appetizer, we shared the salt and pepper calamari with chilies, scallions, and herb oil.
We also got the Chicken Avocado Club with bacon, lettuce, tomato, dill Havarti, and guacamole on a ciabatta bun with kettle chips, as well as the crispy chicken wings with a spicy dry rub, cucumber, and smoked ranch dip, and the chickpea pakora wrap with fresh herbs, pickled cucumber, green goddess dressing, and kettle chips. Mike decided on the shrimp cob salad with crispy pork belly, romaine, snap peas, tomatoes, radish, and umami vinaigrette. Everything was quite tasty, and we had a great meal with Mike's family, especially in such a gorgeous setting.
Another restaurant on the Fairmont property that's worth a visit is the Waldhaus Restaurant. It's a Bavarian-style cottage that was originally built as the Fairmont Golf Course Clubhouse and has a lovely terrace where we decided to grab an afternoon drink. We were seated at a table by the railing with an incredible expansive view overlooking the Bow River, Mount Rundle, and the Fairmont Banff Springs Golf Course. It was the perfect spot to have a large Okanagan cider on a hot summer day. We had an amazing time at Wald House, especially with the golf course views.
If you're a big golfer, then the Fairmont Banff Springs Golf Course is one of the best in the world. We didn't golf, but we drove here in the evening in hopes of finding some elk roaming around, and we were lucky enough to spot quite a few. It was pretty astounding to see them grazing up close.
While in Banff, you should also take a ride on the Banff Gondola, which costs about $75 per person, depending on the day. I did this excursion with my mom, since Tom is afraid of heights. If you're fine with heights like us, this is a great way to see some incredible scenery. Or if you're up to it, you can hike up to the top on the trails. After a lovely 8-minute gondola ride soaring about 2,300 feet, we arrived at the summit of Sulphur Mountain, which is about 2,300 meters or 7,500 feet above sea level. Up here, we saw a family of mountain goats right below this main level observation deck, which has a stunning perspective overlooking the town of Banff, as well as the Sulphur Mountain Boardwalk, which leads over to Sanson Peak, the highest point on Sulphur Mountain. The hike is very picturesque, but as expected, there are quite a few stairs, so be prepared for that. Along the boardwalk, there's lots of lookout points with spectacular panoramic vistas in every direction that you look. Even with all of the smoke, it still looks phenomenal. Heading back along the trail and up on the top floor of the gondola summit building, there's some more stunning views, as well as the peak patio, which would be a wonderful spot to relax and have a drink. But there's more to see, so let's take the gondola back down the mountain so that we can grab some dinner in town at a fondue restaurant called the Grizzly House.
On this beautiful evening, we were happy to sit on their patio for a family meal and ordered a couple of Strongbow Rosé ciders to drink, as well as their complete fondue dinner for each of us, which included a tossed green salad or a soup of the day, which was chicken tortellini to start. Mike decided to upgrade to the French onion soup, which was $2 more and was definitely worth it. The complete dinner also includes your choice of either the bagnacotta vegetable fondue or the traditional Swiss Neuchâtel fondue with Gruyere and Emmental cheeses mixed with white wine and kirsch, as well as cubed French bread and roasted garlic. I was the first to give the cheese fondue a try, which tasted delicious. You can never go wrong with melted cheese, but I still managed to make a little bit of a mess.
Prior to our next course arriving, they brought us 5 different types of sauces. My mom chose the beef and lobster, and my uncle had the beef and prawns as their main courses. I got the beef and scallop, and Tom decided on the beef and chicken for his choice. They also brought out a slab of granite heated to 650 degrees, as well as some garlic butter, which we used to cook the various types of meat and seafood. It was quite a fun experience and tasted wonderful, and there's even more food to come after this. For dessert, our meals also included a chocolate fondue with Belgian milk chocolate, banana, strawberries, cantaloupe, honeydew, orange, apple, and wafers. Our entire dinner at the Grizzly House was excellent, from beginning to end, and we would definitely come back here again.
Now we'll drive about 45 minutes over to Lake Louise, which has a brilliant blue color to it when the sun is shining. Of course, we had to stop and take a selfie before we strolled along the picturesque lakeside trail and went to check out the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise, which had a grand lobby and a restaurant with a patio around back called Louisa that had a pretty phenomenal mountain view. We decided to order a couple of forager gluten-free lagers that turned out to be pale ales, which are not our favorite. The view was fantastic, but the service wasn't very good, so we headed into the town of Lake Louise to eat at the Trailhead Cafe instead. We placed our order inside the quaint eatery and then followed the trail behind the restaurant to grab a seat and eat at one of the picnic tables that were set up next to the rushing Bow River.
On the right is a Greek wrap with chicken, olives, cucumber, tomato, onion, feta, mixed greens, and tzatziki in a spinach wrap. And on the left is a Cajun chicken Caesar wrap with bacon, parmesan, croutons, and romaine. The wraps were fairly big. They were stuffed full and very tasty. The Supreme BLT had local bacon, tomato, mixed greens, and mayo on thick whole wheat toast. The sandwich also had a good portion size and tasted great. During our lovely lunch, we noticed these little prairie dogs running around, which were quite cute and not shy at all.
Nearby is another must-see attraction, Moraine Lake, which is a snow and glacier-fed lake located in the Valley of the 10 Peaks. It didn't take us long to hike up the Rock Pile Trail, which is only about 300 meters or 1,000 feet long, and has some unforgettable views overlooking the turquoise-colored water of Moraine Lake. So we couldn't resist taking another selfie. But let's continue on our Rocky Mountain adventure and take a scenic couple of hour drive into the breathtaking Jasper National Park towards a 10,000-year-old glacier.
We went on the Columbia Icefield adventure aboard this massive ice explorer, which has huge 5-foot-tall tires that took us up onto the ancient Athabasca Glacier, where we had 30 minutes to roam around and explore. Even though this was during a heat wave, it was much colder up on the glacier, and it was fairly windy too.
We saw a stream of fresh glacial water, so Mike took the opportunity to have a sip, then attempted to slide around without much success. It was a remarkable experience, but it's terrible to think that this glacier could be gone in 50 years due to global warming. So we're thankful that we're able to do this incredible excursion while it's still here.
Also included in this activity is the Skywalk, where you can walk on a glass floor suspended 918 feet or 280 meters above the valley. Now, since Tom is afraid of heights, I enjoyed this part on my own, and it was an exhilarating experience walking on the glass. And of course, the views of the surrounding mountains were spectacular too. We'd highly recommend this Columbia Icefield and Skywalk adventure. We've put a link to it in the description section down below. After stopping for a quick break at the Icefield Information Center, we drove an hour over to another peaceful place called Bow Lake. Heading down to the lakefront, we were treated to some more picture-perfect scenery surrounded by the mountains. What a pristine spot for a picnic lunch. Well, we hope you enjoyed our Canadian Rocky Mountains tour. If you did, please like and subscribe, and remember, take time to travel. Catch you on the next one.